Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into round 2 of Operation Boogieman. If you caught the first video, you'll have some background on what this is, but basically this is a clan fight taking place on a modded layer of Narva, featuring the Russian ground forces and the Russian airborne forces. My team won the first round, so we are moving on to the second round as the Russian ground forces. So before we get ahead of ourselves, be sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like, drop a comment down below with your thoughts on the match, and let's get to it. Now, while this map is modded, you still have a random advances secure start, so the points are going to be somewhat randomized, but there's only 2 middle point opportunities. And much like the first round, we get tanks and helicopters on Narva. So on the flip side of this fight, what do I think the Russian Airborne Forces team is going to do this round? So a benefit to us was having played the Russian Airborne Forces first and took Train Depot. Now on the flip side of that, I don't want them to do that, and I think that's where they're going to go. And because of its proximity to the southern middle point, we now have an issue where if they do hold that building, they can easily resupply troops to that middle point. So I knew that our Russian ground force strategy had to be a little bit different from what I had intended for the Russian Airborne. If you remember in the Russian Airborne video, we focused a little bit more on a defensive position near or close to the 2 middle points. To some degree, that was just the lack of having something like Tigers or whatever to help disrupt backlines. It then forced the Russian ground forces to try and push us, but I didn't want us to end up in the same sort of meat grinder type scenario. So the strategy for this side is a little bit different and slightly more aggressive. First, we're going to have a helicopter move with a squad to set up a fob near the middle points, potentially servicing both of those points. This was a risky play, but it did give us the ability to spawn troops near those middle points very early. The next big piece of this was my squad was actually going to be in 2 Tigers, and we were going to move north of Train Depot to disrupt whatever they were setting up there. But we had also decided prior to the match how we were going to split the Tigers, because one Tiger was actually going to move further south to try to kill a Logi or disrupt whatever was south of Train Depot. Plus, we had a few extra bodies with us, so one Tiger was going to split off, move directly south to cut off any of their supply, or any squads moving into Train Depot to reinforce, while we all pushed onto Train Depot. And of course, the goal is to make sure that the enemy team cannot set up a strong defensive position in that building to supply infantry or anything to the southern middle point or the northern one. Now, the blue squad was actually going to move to the northern side of the city in case there was a back cap up there, while pink squad was going to actually take a little bit more of a southern approach for back caps on the southern side of this western part of Narva. But if the helicopter dive towards the middle points and the Tiger push works correctly, then one of those 2 squads could actually work on a leapfrog to whatever the next point is. So I accidentally forgot to record the rollout, but I did catch the early part of this round when we first get to Train Depot. So we've already set a rally about a block north of Train Depot, and we've started our push with a few extra guys, and as we get here, we run into contact. Our second Tiger has actually moved south to cut off logistics. In fact, they killed 3 Logis here just at the start of the round in the first several minutes. And as you can imagine, that's going to really create a problem for their logistics movement and getting other fobs down, which is a huge benefit to our team. Additionally, find out there is a fob already placed in the Train Depot with a hab up. So we're now moving to apply pressure to that and try to get it proxied so that we can make moves to take down this radio.
Located accurate Bravo mark. It's in a car park. Like,
Roger, I'm pretty close to proxy.
We have audio on a logistics vehicle. Place the cap. Enemy vehicle, RTB.
About to be done.
You're no longer proxied.
Can we get updated marks on those 2 BTRs, please?
BTR on church, enemy BTR on church.
I came from myself.
Tiger, come.
BTR on radio station is dead. There is currently no BTRs alive on the map.
Contact outside, inside the walls.
Hang on. Another BTR on the line.
Yeah, I mean, not usually.
They're close on that street, so.
So I ended up getting killed on the western wall trying to help proxy, but our separate Tiger moved in from the southern side and was able to put some bodies onto the hab to proxy it and shut down their ability to spawn in Train Depot. So our main objective of clearing out Train Depot and eliminating any sort of fob or the ability to put down a fob has been completed. And this is really significant now because we have found that Bridgeview Apartments is the middle point, which is right next to Train Depot. Giving us the ability to control this area is significant and keeping the enemy a little bit further away from being able to spawn here. However, our helicopter drop was successful in getting bodies at the point. We are going to lose that fob. So the next thing I want to do is take the Tiger and see if we can get some sort of rally set southwest of Kanda Court. We already have infantry moving in to set up a fob on the southern side of the objective, so we're going to try to come in a little bit on the western side because it appears that they might have two positions that they are holding, one southeast of Kanda Court and one to the west of Kanda Court. But if we can apply pressure to Kanda Court, we may take pressure off Bridgeview Apartments because they're going to have to start to respect the fact that we are closing in on their next objective and they're going to have to send resources there to hold.
Mortars should be accurate. Unknown about the radio placement, and then I have no idea about the fob to the west.
Assuming that we're hitting targets on Bravo.
I have an idea.
Enemy
Stretch,
foe
hop
destroyed.
in. Stretch, hop in. Emery, hop in.
Get a hop on Bridgeview Apartments. Multiple pushing, multiple pushing.
All right, I'm going to move up for a rally, guys. Try to hold position.
Are we reloaded? Oh, reloaded.
They are pushing through Bravo currently.
Understood.
Yeah, they're west of that as well on blue fence.
Yeah,
Big blue fence.
Heavy push southeast of
There's two of them, the
train.
one behind the rock too.
Try to get me to move, Hound.
Copy.
So take about 4 guys in the Tiger and we shift over to the west side of Kanda Court, southwest of Train Depot. The point here is to try to find where we can set up a rally. Now, there was mention that some enemy forces were in this area, and we think there might be a hab somewhere between where we are and the next objective.
Probably building. 148.
Oh shit.
Bridgeview's getting mortared.
Yep.
Enemy infantry, 4th floor Charlie.
9.
4th floor, Charlie. Roger.
2, do you want to build a hop?
Closer than that. Closer than that.
I'm holding just in case they need it up there.
Do you want us holding
Yes,
defense or
continue to
join
hold
you?
there.
Charlie.
Enemy AAPC mark accurate on
I'm trying to see if this hab is accurate or if we have an ability to like move up. Just go for one more, at least one more respawn on
Radio
point.
is at risk,
I'm
southeast
sorry,
of
on
Kanda
train.
Court. There's currently no bodies left.
We see lots of people, but we have not seen a hab marker. Copy, copy.
Hab mark west of Kanda, inaccurate.
So there was a mark on the map for a hab on the northern side of this kind of area that we're walking, and unfortunately that is inaccurate. So we know that they have some sort of enemy presence here. We spotted some troops moving south to north, like headed towards Bridgeview. Now, since I know this, I know that I need to get the rally potentially to the south of wherever they're coming from. That way it doesn't get burned too quickly. Meanwhile, we still have our Tiger in this area helping us kind of clear the area to try to figure out where we can maneuver, also providing support. Meanwhile, I still have a handful of guys at Train Depot just delaying their ability to get into Train Depot as quickly as they might want, while our team is working on a new fob within Bridgeview Apartments to help hold that objective.
Copy. Still no eyes on hab.
I have a truck right next to me. I'm not going to shoot it. It's leaving,
Copy.
moving north of me. If you guys want it. On observe.
Dix reduced on
Yes,
Bridgeview.
radio is bleeding. You might want to hurry up, Spud 1, if you want to save that radio. Right now, he's trying. He cancelled.
I don't see anything, do you?
Truck down, truck down.
Nice. Another Logi destroyed. Lat past my observe, Hound. North of you guys.
Yeah, push coming in from train. Just one on a hot track. West of me.
No.
I think
let
they're
them do
just
their
running
thing.
along the train.
Yeah.
This red line of
coming in
Bravo
from
needs to
your
be
north.
shifted south like 100 meters. They're just running through the train tracks.
Tiger's gonna be RTB.
Like that. Yeah, go for it. What do you think, Stretch?
Maybe even aiming straight at Bridgeview. We're stopping anything from getting into train right now.
Okay.
So I go ahead and put a rally in the middle of this lake. We're not seeing much traffic in this area, so it seems to be south of wherever they primarily are running, because pretty much everything we spotted is north with the exception of the Logi we came across. It's not the ideal position that I want this in, but I'm hoping that by the time we start to utilize it more heavily, we'll be getting a hab in place to support more spawning here to push on Kanda Court. Our Tiger continues to do some really awesome work down here, hunting down a couple lodges and just keeping the infantry at bay, landing some shots to keep them moving around, which is pretty helpful for us to try to sneak in and get some eyes on what might be at court. But I didn't realize at the time that myself and my teammate Stretch were going to be holed up in a building at Kanda Court for a while.
Back towards the roundabout.
Nice job.
Mortar radio is on bleed.
Yeah.
One to my left, to my left.
Contacts on observe, pushing from west.
People are pushing south. They're also pushing south of Kanda. I killed one, but there was one more coming from south.
Sparky, where's this fucking ammo? Are you dead?
Muffet, I'm worried one might come north of you, dude.
South of apartments.
I saw a guy running. I hit him once. I don't know where he is.
I'll get their heli.
Ammunition is 3 to 5 business days.
Enemy main battle tank currently leaving their main. Bravo. Lodging building Bravo. Can I get ranging Bravo?
Working on it.
So there wasn't much of a presence directly on the objective. You see some stragglers, and you see that we've decapped it by about 50%. On my move mark, we saw a Logi pulling up, which looks like they're trying to set up another fob in or near train depot, again to apply pressure to bridge view. And they're starting to react with vehicles at Kanda Court, but we're not seeing a heavy infantry presence, although we do know that they have some sort of hab set up on the west. We just haven't found it yet.
MBT destroyed. They were rearming off of it. Still infantry around here though, Onyx. Got him, Onyx. Got the 80s.
Yeah, I got a couple of things.
Do we know if that enemy toe is accurate?
Not certain.
It is. It is. I see it.
Okay.
For sure. I don't see anybody else accurate. There.
Sarah, go wider west.
Okay, no. Yeah, there's a tank over here. I'm waiting.
Dumping it now.
Don't suppose you brought any bills because the tank destroyed the toes.
So skipping ahead a little bit, we've made very little progress at capping Kanda Court. We still have a ton of pressure from the west. In fact, they're taking up the buildings over there and applying some pressure, getting some shots off on us. But we have a very small group of guys that are slowly infiltrating not only Kanda Court, but also finding a way to get to their hab to slow them down. The Logi that we spotted earlier was apparently to set up that radio and train depot. They dropped it south of the building itself, and we have a couple of guys dealing with that. So we're actually going to bleed out that radio in addition to applying more pressure to Kanda Court and starting to get that cap going again. However, being in this building has turned into a little bit of a nightmare. Not only can I barely hear anything because of mortars along with the artillery, but I'm kind of restricted in being able to do anything very helpful other than just trying to hold, stay alive, and continue our cap on the point.
Got the guy in half. Got the guy in half.
Just hold, guys. We're capping. We have 2 shabs on Kanda.
Okay, they killed me out.
Nice job, guys. Nice job so far.
I ran out of bullets.
Cinder, do you have a UAV?
I killed their I bled out.
I don't know where he is.
Downstairs.
Enemy Logi dead.
You traded?
I'll get him. I'll get him.
Squad 6, what's your team fire? You're supposed to shoot green men, not brown men.
Careful, Sarah. One ran out of Bravo.
bandaging.
See, where do we need the artillery? Try and make it the point.
I'm wondering if we can like try to hit one of these habs and at least get it suppressed so we can push.
Yeah, if we can suppress that northern one with an RE, that'd be great. But please use your UAV and figure out the best spot to hit that.
So it appears we're going to cap this objective, which is pretty significant in the grand scheme of everything. We were down just below 100 tickets. We were bleeding a lot trying to take out their fob to the west of this objective, and we had started to receive pressure on our western fob that was created to take down their western fob. Now at this point, it's probably be really tough to push their next objective, and we are pretty spread out. So it becomes more about trying to lock down this area and ensuring we don't give up the cap to award them tickets.
All right, guys, we're just gonna try to run security on Canada, I think, for a moment.
They could be on power, yeah.
No, I don't know if they're on power.
I can't hear much because the mortars, guys.
Like, seriously, I can hear them on the death screen. The death screen. BTR power. So they're right next to the death screen.
Okay.
Because all I can hear is fucking mortars going off in my ears.
Outlaw, free cookies if you kill one of those fuckers on the mortars.
Oh shit. Southwest of us.
Roger. Enemy push coming southwest of Canada.
So in trying to hold Candacourt, we've started to receive a push from the east side, probably from their next objective, as well as the south. And we know they have mortars south of power plant or somewhere in that area. So ultimately, the goal is just to hold Canada. I think we at some point decide to not even worry about pushing the next objective because it's just going to bleed us tickets, especially if we try to work on fobs headed in that direction. We've disabled their fob to the west, but they've also disabled our fob to the west. So we are going to lose some tickets with that, but hopefully the exchange in tickets by capping this objective has put us ahead of the enemy team, which I have to believe considering we've taken on a few radios. Now, not to mention, they also took down a couple of ours, so there is some balance there.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it to it. I'm rotating east. Alright, so mortars are southeast of me right now, right where on the other side of the river.
Okay, so like, mark?
Yep, and then the habs and that, so that radio, I must have just walked by it. I just want to put an end to these guys.
Enemy have down on power plant, mortars, rough marks.
Careful against Bravo's kill.
You got me. Damn.
Can we get Bob?
Starting to lose Canada. We need bodies down here, guys.
They do briefly start to cap Candacourt, but we started to call out just moving guys off Bridgeview down to Candacourt and reinforcing. We don't have a viable spawn in place right now to support the hold, so we're going to have to do what we can just to delay as long as possible. Because I do think if they cap Candacourt, we do lose the match at that point because we're down to about 15 minutes left on the timer, and that would give them a ticket boost.
Passing Emory right now, moving south on the MSR. Shit, I got hit with a fucking lat. Alright, I can pick up the people on apartments in the BTR and ferry them down.
Watch out, we lost control of that area, so there's probably just hats and lats and all the above there.
Marking hound for hub.
Cover the door, Slay. Cover the door, please.
Give me a mark to hit, Slay.
One dead. Hold on, I'm... Oh, grenade. He dropped a grenade.
No, 3, they finally got you. I'm coming.
To the blue building. Multiple.
Yeah, I mean, their BTR directly north of me on MSR. Or not on MSR, it's inside.
I want to keep this cool here.
No one's giving up a Bravo.
You guys, apartments. Yeah, just get him in quick, mate, because I don't like sitting still.
Fucking
Emery, sir, man, I may need support on this building. Inside the building. Never mind.
GG. GG. Nice. There, nice job, boys. Easy.
So we held on for just the right amount of time. I do think that if we had to hold that for another 10 minutes or so, we were going to be in serious jeopardy of being able to maintain Candacourt because they were definitely making a larger push and they were closing in distance with numbers. Now my squad ended up with 55 kills, 81 knocks, and 38 deaths, which is pretty solid. It was also very efficient, and what's not really taken into account in those stats is what the Tiger did at the beginning of the match and through a large portion of the match by disabling their logistics and keeping them from being able to just actively build wherever they wanted. We took down a couple of radios in this round. In total, I think between round 1 and 2, we actually took down 5 enemy radios. Now, when you start to think about that, and along with the potential of winning the vehicle battles, you start to bleed enemy teams down in tickets. By taking Train Depot early, they were not able to set a comfortable fob up to push. So that was actually forcing them to cross the railroad to get into Bridgeview Apartments, which is a pretty long run. The other thing we should note is just speed and adaptability to the situation. We don't know where their second point was going to be before it was revealed to be Candicorp, but we took down the Train Depot fob and we were quickly planning what the next attack would be, because I knew at some point they might push us off of Train Depot. In fact, they tried to get something set up, but we were still in that area to counter that. But a huge shout out to the whole team, because we were pretty adaptable. In that situation with the helicopter drop, which was probably not the ideal location to do that, we still got it up, got respawns there, and were able to hold the objective long enough to get a new fob up, with it never really being fully in question. I was really interested to see how these 2 rounds would play out, because Narva, especially with access to all the rooftops now, can be a really difficult map to play, because you can spread out so much infantry in buildings and then give them that higher perspective. You can see so much of what the enemy team might be doing. And with that, it becomes pretty easy to be able to bleed out the enemy team as they try to approach something. So again, grabbing territory, holding on to it, and working quickly and being adaptable came up clutch in this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the look at this Narva match. I know that I spent a lot of time on the map, hiding in a bathroom, just trying to dodge bullets. But what I do hope is that looking at an organized match like this can be somewhat insightful and give you some ideas for how to play rounds. But with that, be sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like, drop a comment down below with your thoughts, and I'll see you next time.